All attendees are unmuted. Play mode.
All right, I want to welcome everybody to today's AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT webinar. Today we're going to be exploring the AutoCAD 2015 interface and sort of a beginner's guide. This is going to be presented by Volker as well as moderated with Martin. And before we even get going, we have some poll questions we'd like to ask, and just to get everybody on the same page and sort of feel the crowd a little bit on who's actually out there. So first question we'd like to ask everybody is, have you attended one of these sessions before? So we call this series the Autodesk Technical Support AMA series. And AMA just stands for Ask Me Anything. And really all that means is throughout the entire presentation, you're welcome to ask any sort of question that you like within the question panel on the right-hand side, all the way from the start to the end. Okay, so for the people that voted, came out about 80% have previously attended, so thank you and welcome back. Now, next question, assuming this is a beginner's guide, I'm assuming that most people attending are either highly skilled, looking for tips and tricks, or maybe a few people out there that are new and really starting to learn the product. So it's a mix of 1 year and less, but for the most part, it's the experienced people that are here. So awesome, thank you. And the last question I always know is a hot topic for AutoCAD users is, what background color do you prefer for your editor? Myself, I use black. Other, I wonder what other is. Yep, so 83% of the people viewing today have said black. So again, I just want to welcome everybody for attending. At this point, I'll hand this over to Volker.
Thanks, Royce. Really appreciate that. And I'd like to welcome Martin Stewart to this session, who will be moderating and taking note of the questions.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see some familiar names out there and some newcomers as well. You're welcome to please post questions in the question chat window throughout the webinar. This is the Ask Me Anything, so you're welcome to try and stump Volker as much as possible. But yes, please enter your questions, and we'll cover those as we can during the webinar. And we'll also allow some time at the end of the webinar for additional questions. So I'll turn you back over to Volker.
Thanks, Martin, and thanks for stumping me. All right, so thank you, everybody, for showing up again, and I'd like to welcome all those new users as well, or new viewers to this session. I am looking forward to showing some of these features of the AutoCAD 2015 interface, but I also want to note that this is not just AutoCAD 2015 interface. This is AutoCAD. I want to show some of the tools and functions that get neglected, where they are, how to enter commands, where to find those commands. And I realize with the poll that we had that a lot of you have been longtime users. Maybe you're just upgrading to the newer release of AutoCAD from several versions back, so obviously you'll note that a few things have changed. Just a overview of AutoCAD itself, 2015, there have been so many different webinars done for that. Heidi Hewitt, Lynn Allen, these are great evangelists that have covered all the new features, and I'll be covering some of those. But I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on things that not only apply to getting the job done, but where we can find some information if we need to about the application, and some of the features that are easily dismissed by longtime users. If you're a new user, then you'll get a good glossy overview of the application, but a couple of things to keep in mind. I could spend a whole day going over just the interface, where all the commands are, how to access every one of them. There are so many things to do, ways we can do one thing in AutoCAD, and it's up to you. It's your preference how you want to get the job done. I do things my way, you do things your way, and hopefully we can all find a middle ground for that. So, having said that, let me start off with a couple of slides here. If you've attended these before, you know that I'm not into PowerPointing people to death, but we do have a couple of house cleaning items to take care of. First of all, as Martin and Royce mentioned, feel free to leave questions in that chat window. We do want to answer those. And if for some reason we can't right away, we will, after this overview, have some time available to answer additional questions. I'll pause every once in a while to see what's going on, see if anybody has anything that needs to be urgently answered. I also want to point out that we do have our landing page for those who haven't attended this session before. Martin will be pasting these links into the chat window so you can easily copy and paste them to your text editor or however you store your links. The first one is our landing page, and here you can of course register for the upcoming sessions, and this was updated last night with a couple of new sessions that we will be having, a troubleshooting session coming up in about 2 weeks, and then one on getting started with external reference files. So that one should be fun as well. We also have the links to the recorded sessions from that we did previously. So, feel free to check those out. And at any time, even on the previous videos, if you have questions or are unsure about a feature that we talked about, feel free to go to our feedback post and leave a question there, and we'll get to it. And I do moderate this, make sure that we can give you feedback. And it looks like somebody just posted this one here, but we'll be answering those as well. So just kind of want to get that out of the way. All right, so for our next slide, one of the things I'm going to be introducing every week in my webinars is we have what's called the Autodesk Knowledge Network. And on this Knowledge Network, the very top link taking you to that page, Martin will also be posting that, we have updated solutions to issues with AutoCAD or service packs that may have been released, hot fixes. These are all listed. There are downloads available for sample files, as well as tips and tricks and issues that have been resolved by the end user. So this is a great place to find out what's going on, what some of the problems are, if any, what some of the solutions are, what some better ways are to get things done, how to tweak settings and so forth. I encourage you to check out the Knowledge Network. These are just the top new solutions that were placed as of Monday this week. So if any of those interest you, I would encourage you to go to this link here. So having said that, let's get into the overall meat and potatoes of this webinar. Where to begin? Well, with AutoCAD, there are many places to begin, but one of the main couple of minutes, bad phrasing there, but the first couple of minutes I want to talk about the start page when you launch the application. because there is some good stuff there. We have a Learn section as well as a Create section, and I'm not going to talk about all these right now because I will in a few moments, but these are some of the items you would find on that Start page. A lot of us have a tendency to easily dismiss this and just go right into our drawings, which is good. We have to get our work done. After working with the Start page, let's see if I can, oops, one too many slides there, sorry. We'll take a look at the bigger picture. We'll talk a little bit about the application browser, our quick access toolbar, some of the functionality there, the ribbon, the mouse, which has a lot of functionality, the command line interface, where me being an old school AutoCAD user, and many of you who have been doing this for a long time, which we saw in the poll, will probably appreciate quite a bit. I know that I get my job done using the command line. Talk a little bit about the model and layout tabs as well as the status bar. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my AutoCAD, and we'll pretend I just launched this. Okay, so this is typically what we see, and oftentimes, and this can be turned off, there are system variables for that, but I think if you haven't already used this, then you will find this is a great way to quickly access recent files, our documents here, start a new drawing, and also if with AutoCAD 2015 actually it is a lot easier to see if there are updates available because it is pushed right to your desktop, if you have a live internet connection, that is. And in this case here, we do have a notification, the Service Pack 2 for AutoCAD 2015 and AutoCAD LT 2015 was released earlier in the day. And if I click this update button, one of the nice features of AutoCAD 2015 is the application manager. And what this does, it's actually an icon in our little taskbar tray here. Okay, and that actually shows me that there are new service packs available, as well as some updates for recap in this case. So whatever application you're running, it's going to show you and notify you if you have this enabled as to what updates are available. And the Service Pack 2, which obviously I have not installed yet, does have some nice functionality, some nice fixes, and even some features that were users have been requesting that were removed between release 2014 and 2015. So enough said about this for right now. I encourage you to check out that update. On this same page, this is the Create page. Here we have the ability to get started with a new drawing, and one thing people don't look at this a lot, but here we have access to our templates. We can start a new drawing that way, or just use the default if we were to click on this. In this case, this being AutoCAD LT, it uses the AutoCAD LT DWT as the default. And I'll show you in a few moments how we can set that to be a different template as a startup. But we do have those choices available here. We can open up files, sheet sets, get additional templates online, explore some of the sample drawings, obviously, but we also have our recent document lists. And this is actually a fairly nice feature, and actually I am going to switch over to AutoCAD right now. Sorry about that delay there. There we go, because I have more drawings available here. And one of the things I like to point out on the recent documents is that we oftentimes will be working on a project for quite a bit of time. So maybe if we're opening up other drawings at the same time, we always want to keep this in our recent documents. I may open up 5 different drawings or 9 different drawings and remove one of these, but I can pin that to where it remains stationary in this list. So it's a nice bit of functionality to get to my recently used drawings. We can also change the view of this. Detail view, and a larger icon view, or the default icon view. Now, when I hover over this, it does give me some information about these drawings. And if I click on it, it will open up that drawing. I'll go ahead and close this for right now. We'll get back to this here in a moment. Once I close the tab for that drawing, to close the drawing, it goes back to the new tab. And the reason I'm closing is I want to go to this Learn page right now. This little marker tells me there's new information available on my Learning page. And why would I want to go here? Well, we can see the new features of the current application. For new users, this is a great way to get started with AutoCAD. And so some of the stuff you're seeing here is actually stuff I'll be talking about during this webinar. Also some feature videos that may be that are available that the Autodesk team, product team for AutoCAD puts together, the reality capture team, etc. So great quick access to some learning resources. Also, note that we have tips that get updated. So in this case here, there's actually a tip for this webinar session that we have with a link going to our landing page. Tomorrow, that may be a completely different tip. There are also some online resources, the Hitchhiker's Guide. If you have new users in your company, if you are a new user, this is a great getting started tutorial to just get a quick start with AutoCAD, so to speak. Also, quick access to support and a 30-day free trial to lynda.com. If you haven't ever checked out lynda.com, they have great learning resources for just about any bit of software out there. So the 30-day trial applies to all that, but it's a great way to get your users working with AutoCAD. So we'll go ahead and get back over here to our Getting Started page, and let's take a look at just starting a drawing from scratch. Again, this uses the default template. And this is what we're typically going to see in AutoCAD. One of the things that I like to do right away in AutoCAD is tweak settings the way I want them to appear. I'm not going to tweak all those settings, but a lot of people really love the new theme with AutoCAD. Some people don't. Okay, maybe that's too dark for them. They want something a little brighter. So one of the things I like to do is go into Options. And I'm just right mouse clicking over my command line. When I'm not in a command, I can actually right mouse click over the drawing editor itself, this area. I'm going to go into Options. And Options is where I can control the most used settings in AutoCAD. And here I could actually change that color scheme from dark to light. In fact, if you're a programmer, I have actually seen a pink theme for AutoCAD, which I'm not going to recommend to anybody really, but it does work. Once I hit Apply, it then changes that color to a lighter theme. And I think the internet is kind of slowing me down today, but it did update, and just something nice to be aware of. If you are a longtime user and you really prefer the old school look of AutoCAD, you could always go into Colors and select Restore Classic Colors, and this would actually give you the pure black background for the drawing editor. It would make everything look more like an earlier 2000-ish release of AutoCAD, those colors that you may be used to. I'm not going to get into a lot of these changes. You know where they're at. That's what I'm trying to show you here. So let me just go ahead and switch that back, click Apply, click OK. And we'll get back into the options dialog in a few moments. There are a few more things I want to point out. And right now, I'm going to go up to the application browser. That's what this little letter A is. If you have a vertical application, it may be something else like an M or P. I'm for plant, yeah. M for map, whatever. But AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT have this. One thing you need to be careful of, it's a nice feature, but double-clicking on this will actually exit the application. So if you have changes that need to be saved, it'll prompt you first. So don't worry about that. Notice my pin on the Wilhelm drawing that I had. I'd set that on the start page. So it is also locked into this recently used list. We can also get to options from here. And options, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. I encourage you to explore that. Hovering over these icons here, New Open, it gives me several different choices as to how I want to save something, how I want to export it, publish it, for printing, for email, here again for plotting. All my plotting settings are right here. And drawing utilities. So if you're a new user, drawing maintenance, it's a big thing. And be sure to be aware of these tools, kind of minimize that file size, clean it up if you have errors in the drawing database. And is great for opening up files that are problematic, that may have been corrupted in one manner or another. Also, with this particular dialog, we can change how we want to see these files being displayed. So I've changed that to a larger picture. It gives me a preview and gives me some great information about this file, where it's located, when it was last modified, and who it was last saved by, and it just good information to know if somebody else has been working on that file with you. One of the things that AutoCAD, since the introduction of the ribbon, is one of the things that isn't so intuitive is where to find some of the commands. And this little search bar at the top, if I type in something like block, this is a great way to find out where the command to insert a block, create a block, and so forth can be located. It will tell me that it's on the block tab, the panel of the ribbon tab, okay, home, block. And in fact, if I go ahead and select one of these just by clicking on it, it then goes into that command for me and allows me to create my block definition. So not only can you find out where the command is, but you can access the command while typing it in there. And you don't need to necessarily know the real command. Just need to know, you know, it is a block or anything with drawing files or attributes or whatever, or line command. So some good functionality there. Again, there are a lot of tools in here. This is like our file menu of the past. Now, any questions, Martin, so far?
Not yet. If anyone does have a question, go ahead. Not yet. If anyone does have a question, go ahead and type it in now. One thing I like about these features you're presenting, Volker, is a lot of users may tend to just skip these because they're in a hurry to start using the program and not be aware of them. So even for some of us who have been using AutoCAD for years, we may have missed some of this just in the hurry to get to using the program and not realize some of these goodies are there.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. That's kind of what I'm trying to show in this webinar, and because I, as a user, will also skip a lot of these just because I'm used to doing things my way. And having said that, let's take a look at this little guy up here, the Quick Access Toolbar, as it's called. We have quite a bit of functionality up here, and most of it is just, by default, I believe there are actually only about 3 or 4 icons up here. I've actually modified mine. I meant to reset it, and I did not. But actually, that's kind of good because I can show you that, hey, right here I have the layer drop-down list. You're not going to see this on the default of AutoCAD. I'll show you in a minute how you can quickly add that, and that minute is now. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this down arrow. And here we can add additional commands to AutoCAD, okay, and basically to that quick access toolbar. And if you go to the more commands, it will open up the CUI editor and allow you to select commands to add. So this is the compact version of the CUI editor, and you can actually just add commands from this list to that quick access toolbar. But one of the things that I like, and a lot of people aren't aware of, is, for example, this layer drop-down list here. It's actually only available to you on the Home tab, but it's one of the most frequently used tools that we have. And all I did was I went ahead and right mouse clicked over this layer drop-down list. And when that is not available up here, there's actually an option to just add that to the quick access toolbar. I will try that. Let's use one of these property objects here. Nope, that one doesn't have it. So never ad-lib in front of a crowd, people. Never do that, okay? It presents awkward moments. But that's all it took for me to add that, was to right mouse click over this. And, oh, there it is, add to quick access toolbar. So it's always available that way no matter what tab I'm on the ribbon. And again, I can add additional commands up there from that drop-down list or the CUI editor. Another nice feature in AutoCAD, I think, and I've always felt this way, we had some problems for a little while with the help file, but the help file in AutoCAD, especially the vanilla AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT product, is so helpful. If I am in a command on the, I can just hit F1 and it will take me to that command. This particular dialog up here, I'm typing in insert and I hit enter and it takes me to options for inserting. Now I have it set to all content. It's showing me programming information, but if I look down here, it talks about the insert command and gives me the information I need. The help file in AutoCAD is wonderful. It does cover just about every aspect of a command, and the information about the commands you're in is immediately available. I'll point that out a couple more times here as we move along. Up here, this shows me I am logged into Autodesk 360. For people who aren't familiar with that, this is a cloud-based service where you as a user get, I believe it's 25 gigabytes of space to upload your drawing files to, at least as a subscription customer. It's going to be a little less for those not on subscription, but you can then share your files, any documents really, through a web interface, through your tablet, through AutoCAD with other colleagues or firms that you're working with. Autodesk Exchange Apps, this is a bit of functionality that it actually takes me to a website, and this is our App Store. And basically you will find plugins available for AutoCAD. The majority of these actually are free. Okay, so I mean, here's a rebar application, there's a table application, And this is a great site to see what kind of plugins are available for AutoCAD that also interact with other applications and AutoCAD. Obviously, some are for sale, but these are just great to know about this stuff here. Again, we can go to help here. Since we are with AutoCAD support, product support here, it's important I point this out. We have, of course, the subscription center. We have a link here that goes directly to the certified hardware for AutoCAD. Okay, you can see what graphic cards work best with AutoCAD and even what systems. We also have links to our communities such as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So make use of this. There's some good information here, and there's if you're a subscription customer, you can easily access your resources, and if you're looking for new hardware, there's information about that as well. All right, so moving on, because I'm being rather long-winded about these first few topics here. Let's talk about the ribbon real quick. A lot of people love it or hate it. I mean, it's one or the other. I used to hate this, but the reality is there are tools available on the ribbon you're not going to find elsewhere, not even on the command line. And you can actually make this more user-friendly. It is also context-sensitive. So if I were to go into, and I'm going to do this from the command line, I'm just going to type T for text. Okay, that takes me into the text editor. So as soon as I go into the text editor, that ribbon will change to represent items for the text editor. Okay, so it conforms to what the commands that you're using if it applies. I'm just going to hit escape to get out of that. And if you feel this is in your face, there are a couple of things we can do here. We can minimize this, minimize it. Leave it as just tabs at the top of the screen. Okay, and you can access the ribbon content from those tabs, or you could even choose from minimize to panel, titles, which gives us this, or choose minimize to panel buttons. If you really want to, you could also just undock this and put it on another screen. I'm just going to right-click over this, and there's an option to undock this. And now it's a floating plate in AutoCAD, and I can put that on another monitor or just place it somewhere else on the screen. And for some reason, this internet connection today is just really slowing me down. I do apologize for any visual delays here. We've not had this problem in the past. It's not going to make any excuses. The other thing that I like about this, the ribbon, is that we can actually tear out portions of it. And yeah, there we go. Kind of. Let's do this with the, yeah, we'll just do it with this one right here. If I just go ahead and grab this here, okay, let's see, grab. Come on, Voker, you can do this. There we go. No. I am not sure why this connection is just messing with me today, but notice how we can just grab a portion of that ribbon and have it floating and be easily accessible. You can grab it and drag it back up here. If you totally mess up, you can change your workspace to get that back. And of course, our workspaces are on the title bar here. All right, I'm going to just quickly show a couple of features here. For the block command, this is new to 2015. Whoops, I actually wanted to hit on the down arrow. Oh, this lag is kind of frustrating. Let's go to annotate. Let me open up a drawing here to better demonstrate this. Let's go ahead and open up this one right here. There's some nice features available here as well in this release of AutoCAD where we can easily see what styles are available. Well, we've always been able to see that off of the ribbon, what styles are available, but here it gives us a visual representation so that we can just click on that to grab the particular style. This probably was not the best drawing. Actually, it wasn't the one I intended to use, but it only has this one style in it. I actually had a different drawing, but I'm not going to open that up right now. Let's take a look at the View tab. There's a lot of good stuff here available to help us with our drawings. If we have 3D, then maybe we need to use these 3D controls. But maybe these are in our way as well. Okay, so you could easily turn those off to maximize your real estate on the screen, and that includes the UCS icon. If you're in a 2D drawing, you can easily get away with this. Obviously, if you're in a 3D file, you would want to use things like the View Cube. We can also access all of our palettes here. So if if you aren't familiar with these, I mean, we have things like tool palettes where we can add our own commands, our own blocks, or use the sample commands and blocks that are available for input. We have Design Center available to us. And of course, all of these tools are available from the command line. So Control-2 would actually open or close that Design Center. Control-3 opens and closes the tool palettes. Control-1 would open and close your Properties palette. But they are all easily accessible from here as well. We can also get rid of the file tabs if we don't like these. Okay, I personally prefer these, and I like being able to switch between these. And note that if I right mouse click over one of these tabs, it allows me to create a new drawing, open an existing drawing, close all my files, save all my files. This is a wonderful feature right here. You've got 10 drawings open. You need to save them all because you want to go to lunch. Okay, so save all right there. Copy paths. This is all stuff that's nice features. Moving on, just kind of speeding things up a little bit here. One thing I do recommend, and I think most longtime users will agree with me, is that the command line is valuable. And personally, I prefer to resize this a little bit. In fact, I like to just go ahead and grab it and then dock it and let it plop into space here, and then I resize it a little bit to give me, personally, I like about 5 or 6 lines of text. This way I can see what's going on. If I'm in something like the P-line command, okay, there are a lot of options available. Take a look at these options here. And the more I do with this, so if I go into, say, width, and I just clicked on that, by the way, and that allowed me, it was just like typing, it gives me more options, but I can see a history of that command line. If I were to have a command, say, maybe even a coordinate or a command that's kind of lengthy, I can actually highlight that command here, right mouse click, and then paste it to the command line. And I'm ready to just start that command. So this goes back 400 lines of history by default, allowing me to quickly reuse stuff. Using up and down arrow keys, I can access values that I used previously. So in that case, it was a coordinate point. My up arrow key took me back to the P-line command, to the Properties command, Tool Palette Close. easily get to your commands doing this. There's also tools available here that allow me to control the input settings. So right now, if I start typing in a command, it will auto-complete that command. It'll auto-correct me. So if I type in table, but I type it T-A-B-E-L instead of T-A-B-L-E, it will correct that for me. It knows that I'm looking for the table command. It'll search system variables, although I can disable that. It'll search for a block in the drawing. One of the things for long-time users that I like to recommend is that, so I use the command line, I use aliases, L for line, C for circle, whatever. With these autocompletes, if you're a fast typer, it may actually be that you're too fast for the command line, and so you're typing C something and you hit enter and it accesses the wrong command. You may have had that happen. Change the delay time. Okay, the value is 300. I found 500 for delay to work very well. And that allows me to, so I'm going to go ahead and type 500, and if I type in C, enter, it goes right into the circle command. PL, oops, well let's go do this. PL. Okay, but it allows additional time for the command line to accept your input. Just something to be aware of. I want to get to the mouse real quick. The mouse, depending on what I'm doing, is going to give me the option to repeat previous commands, access previous input, copy to the clipboard, and so forth. This is all information that's available when I'm not in a command. If I'm in a command, so let's go into the circle command. Once I right mouse click now, it gives me options particular to that command. As an old school user of AutoCAD, I used to always love the fact that I had this option to cancel or repeat a command with my right mouse click button. Okay? That functionality by default is off, but I right mouse clicked over the command line, selected options, and I'm going to go to user preferences here. And there's an option to right for right click customization. If I select this, I can turn on what's called time-sensitive right-click. And what that allows me to do is to not only get that right mouse click menu when I'm in not in a command. Whoops. Let's go into the line command right now. So right now it gives me the options for the line command. But if I've exited that command, if I quickly right-click, it's like hitting the enter or space bar, and it allows me to repeat that command. If I repeat that command by quickly right-clicking, pick 2 points for that line and hit the right mouse click real quick, it ends the command, just like we had back in the days prior to release 2000, for those of you who have been doing this for 10 years or more. If you haven't used this functionality, it's a great time saver, especially if you're getting into the habit of using the command line, because one hand on the keyboard and one hand on the mouse, allows you to get a lot done. And just being able to repeat things with the mouse, well, that allows me not to have to set down my cup of coffee. Okay, so another benefit right there. And plus, I can also still access my commands by holding down a little longer on that mouse. All right, let's quickly take a look at the status bar. Not all of these icons may be present in AutoCAD 2014 or 15. What has been added here is this little menu on the side, and you'll see all of mine are enabled. But if you want some of these to show up or not show up, just select them and it unchecks them and you won't have to deal with them. So let's say I'm working in a 2D drawing. I'm not going to use 3D object snap. Okay, so I uncheck that and it removes it from the from the status bar. It's a good feature to know about. Here's also our clean screen, full screen effect. Okay, or Control 0 would have done that as well. Okay, in fact, I'm going to do a Control 0 right now, and that brings everything back. Right mouse clicking over any of these icons allows you to make changes to how things are how these drawing aids work. In this case here, it allows me to choose different 3D tools. If I go over the grid, it allows me to choose different grid type snaps. Yeah, in this case, I went over the snap. And I can go right into snap settings from there. For line weight settings. So the bottom line is I can change a lot of my settings just by right mouse clicking. In fact, don't hesitate to right mouse click over anything in AutoCAD. You will find functionality there more often than not pertaining to that particular tool or that particular object. Last but not least, and again there's so many more things we could cover here, is our layout tabs. Okay, so model and paper space. AutoCAD can have up to 255 layouts. That includes the model space, our drawing area where we do everything in real-world units. We can then create up to 254 of these paper space layouts for plotting purposes and to get a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get view of our drawing. Again, there's a lot to paper space and plotting. Actually, we're going to have a webinar on that next week. But having said that, each one of these layouts can have viewports for individual scaling. And in fact, you can have up to 64 viewports in one layout.
Not recommended.
Yeah. As Martin just, you may not have heard that, but it's not recommended. It's your resources of your computer that are going to allow you to use this functionality or not. The more RAM you have, the more you can get away with. So, but even if you did have 64 viewports, you may not have the resources to display all of them at once. But if you were to plot, the drawing would regenerate and plot all that. If you were to make a layout active, it would display the features of that model view. So like I said, I had to actually hurry up a little bit here at the end. I gave you a quick glossy overview of a lot of stuff, and there's definitely a lot more to see and work with. So, Martin, any questions?
One question. You demonstrated how you could take the ribbon panels and pull those out into the workspace, and that might appeal to some of the old school users that are used to toolbars. What if you got a lot of these panels pulled off the ribbon? Is there a quick way to reset back to the default?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I briefly touched on it. When I've done stuff like that and just modified and just really hosed everything, so to speak, okay? And let me see if I can, for some reason, like I said, the internet's kind of affecting how I drag and drop stuff off of here, but there we go. Okay, so let's say I've done that to a lot of these tabs and I've totally screwed it up. We do have an option to completely reset the AutoCAD menu, but there's no reason to do that. All you really have to do is go to your workspace icon here, or wherever. You may even have it up at the top of the screen. And notice the default right now is drafting and annotation. I have my own workspace, but I'm just going to switch to one of these other workspaces, which will then, anything I saved will appear as it did in my save settings. And we have a little bit of a lag here. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch to the workspace I was working in. so drafting an annotation, and it will restore that to the last saved setting of that workspace. And this lag, if it's frustrating for you, believe me, it's frustrating for me, okay? I'm not sure why we're getting that, but it is happening. Can't control it. But note the ribbon is now back to where it was. The only thing you need to do to make sure that that's going to work for you is in the workspace settings, different topic, by the way, in the workspace settings, if you have it set to where it's do not save changes to workspace, that will work for you. If you have it save workspaces automatically, then that ribbon tab would have saved to whatever workspace you had. So, you know, this is the default. I would recommend you keep it on that. But that is how you would quickly get that ribbon back to normal.
And a second question, is there a place to see keyboard shortcuts for certain commands on the ribbon?
Yes. Sorry about that. I had myself on mute. Not even going to get into that one. The keyboard shortcuts are stored in a file called the AutoCAD alias, and I usually open it up a little bit differently, but if you go to the Manage tab in AutoCAD, here you have the Edit Aliases, and also in 2015 you have this Edit Autocorrect list and Edit Synonym list you can add to. All it is basically is a text file, and when I click on that, it's going to open it up in whatever your default text editor is. Most cases that's going to be Notepad. I use a different one, but this is where that list appears. Okay, just close that. Those are all of your aliases. Back when I started out, and I'm a new user compared to some of you, we only had like 12 aliases. As you can see, there are quite a few more than that. In fact, in some cases, the aliases are as long as the commands. Why that is, I have no idea, but you can tailor this, and you can add to it, you can print it out, you can, like I said, add to it. If you do decide to add to it, take a look at the help section, but if you do decide to add to this, then make sure that you use, after you've made changes, you use a command called reinit to reinitialize that PGP file. Otherwise, those changes don't go into effect unless you close and then open AutoCAD. For those with AutoCAD LT, that is especially important. For those with full-blown AutoCAD, we actually have a tool called the, it's an Express tool, and those, of course, are not available with AutoCAD LT, but here you could actually make changes, and once you've made those changes, it will reinitialize that file automatically. So good question. It's all part of customization, and just be aware of that. And you can look in the help file under alias or shortcut keys, type in those search phrases.
So Volker, I'm not seeing any more questions, and we are down to a few minutes left.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let me go over here because we need to do our little PowerPoint. Whoops, I clicked the link I didn't want to. Hey, thanks for attending, everybody. Next week, we will have an introduction of printing, plotting, and layouts. I'm thinking that's going to kind of turn into a series after a while because, again, you can only cover so much in 35, 40 minutes, and we've used up almost an hour for this one, longer than I intended. So it'll be a glossy overview, and then somewhere along the line I'll go into more details on page setups, on layouts, on what the difference is between an HDI printer plotter and a system printer plotter and a PC3 file, etc. But that one there is next. And if you have any questions, maybe, something wakes you up at 3 in the morning, I hope not, but if it does, feel free to follow that link, which I'm sure Martin has pasted into our little chat window, and leave a post in our feedback page. We will be more than happy to get back to you on it. I will anyway. In fact, I'll look forward to any feedback, and if you have any thoughts as to what you would like to see in these webinars, either for yourself or maybe you have some users in your company who are unfamiliar with AutoCAD or some of the functionality, hey, leave that in the feedback post itself, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate all this. I know your time's valuable, so I and the rest of our product support team are very grateful and thankful for having joined us. We do have one quick poll. I'm going to go ahead and run that right now. If you could just take a moment to let us know if this session has been of value. Well, thank you. That's positive news. We appreciate that. So again, until next time, I appreciate you being here, and we look forward to seeing you again. All right? Take care, everybody. Have a great day.